Okay, folks, put the video on pause, set up your notes uh, as you see them on the screen. All right, thanks for doing that. Hey, the first one we're going to focus on, first equation of a line, form that it needs to be in, is called standard form, okay? And the A right here stands for a number. It's just a constant. So the A, B, and C are constants. Let's make that note, that A, B, and C are constants. Okay, so these are the rules that we got to follow for our equation. So let me zoom in on this guy, and let's identify, like in this first example I'm looking at, do you notice how the x and the y are not on the same side of the equation, and there's a fraction in front of the x. So the x and y need to be on the same side of the equation. The a, the b, and the c all need to be constants, and they can't be fractions. Okay, so let's make that note. So they've got to be whole numbers. Sometimes we call those integers. All right, so let's see. I'm going to put A, B, and C are constants. They are, I'm just going to call them whole numbers, but whole numbers usually are positive numbers. And so, then we broaden that out and say integers. So maybe I'll put that in parentheses here. Integers mean that they could be negatives as well, except they want A to be positive. So that's A is positive. That's kind of weird. And then there's not a number that will divide into all of them. So they're kind of reduced. So they have no common factors. No common factors. Okay, so if we see like 2 will divide into A, B, and C, then we'll go ahead and divide everything by 2. All right, so let's do an example right now. Like I said, the x and the y are on the wrong side of the equation. The x and the y need to be on the same side. So I'm going to subtract 2/5 x from both sides. So 2/5 x from both sides. And now I've got negative 2/5 x plus y equals 14. Now, if you're like, I'd rather just multiply everything by 5 right from the start to get rid of the 2/5, as a fraction. I know I can't have a fraction. That might be a good idea as well. But now I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, okay, this is the point where I'm going to divide and get rid or multiply. I'm going to multiply by 5 and get rid of this 5 right here. And I'm also going to pay attention that A needs to be a positive number. So if I multiply everything by negative 5, that would take care of the negative here, and it would also take care of the 5 in the denominator. But I have to multiply everything by negative 5. Okay, so I'm going to multiply the y by negative 5, and I'm going to multiply the 14 by negative 5. Oh, shoot, I probably could have put it in front. That might confuse some people that I'm putting it behind the 14. But it doesn't matter what order you multiply. Like, you could have 14 times negative 5 or negative 5 times 14. Doesn't matter, right? So let's see. How does this work? 5, I could divide 5 into 5 one time, but it's still a negative, right? I probably should have said negative 5 divided by 5 is negative 1. Negative 1 times 2. Oh, wait. Doggone it. This was a negative 2/5. So negative 1 times negative 2 is a positive 2x. That's why I was multiplying by a negative 5 in the first place. I wanted this to be a positive number, okay? So now it's a positive whole number. Okay, so positive is important and a whole number is important. Okay, whole number. In the old days, we used to use this to mean number. I know you guys think hashtag. Maybe that's not so good that I use that. I don't know if people still do that for number, but I'm going to just write the word out. It's got to be a whole number. All right, let's do negative 5 times y. Well, that's pretty easy. Negative 5y. It's okay that this one's negative, but they want the leading coefficient, if you will, the coefficient on the x variable to be a positive number. And then on the other side, negative 5 times 14, let's see, I think that is negative 70, right? Because negative 5 times 10 would be negative 50. Negative 5 times 4 is negative 20. So we got negative 70, I believe, right there. There it is. It's in standard form, okay? Now, let's look at the next example I have over here. What is wrong with this guy? Why is it not in standard form? Oh, and they wanted us to identify the A, B, and the C. Sorry about that. Let's do that real quick. The A is 2, the B is negative 5, and the C is negative 70, okay? So make sure that you write these numbers down as well. All right. Well, the x is on the wrong side of the equation, like the other one was. The x was on the wrong side of the equation. You notice it's now negative 10x, which is, we don't want the negative there. We'll deal with that in just a second. We got a negative 16 over here, and they're all divisible by 2. So we're going to divide everything by negative 2. I'm just going to make a separate line of work here. So I'm going to divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2, and this becomes 5x. Now we got a positive there. We got a negative here. That's okay. We can have a negative there. It's not always negative. It is negative in both these situations. And then over here, we got a positive 8. Man, I hope I'm not making any mistakes with my arithmetic right now. Now we're in standard form. The A is 5. Oh, what's the B value? That's a negative 1, right? When you see just like no number in front of the Y, it means it's a 1, but then there's a negative there. So I'm going to say negative 1. And the C is 8, of course. All right. Let's try another one. Okay. You know what? If you feel like, I totally get it, Nelson. You go ahead, put the video on pause right now, and you try 2 of your homework prompts. I want you to do number 1 and number 4. All right. Hey, welcome back. What is wrong with this guy right here? Well, it has a negative right there. So I'm going to divide by negative 1, divide by, everything's got to be divided by negative 1. And I get 7x plus 5y equals 35. Nope, negative 35, right? And they want me to identify the A, the B, and the C value. Okay, now let me double check. Is there a number that will divide into 7, 5, and 35? No. I know 7 and 5 both go into 35, but you can't divide, 7 by a number. It's 7's prime, so, and 5's prime. So you can't divide those two guys by a common factor. So what's going on down here? Well, ooh boy, holy smokers. We got to move the 1, 6 to the other side. And we've got to figure out, like, what are we going to multiply everything by to get rid of? Oh, shoot, man. And the y and the x are in totally the wrong order. So let's move this guy over here, negative 3/4 x, and move that guy over here. That's going to be plus a 2/3 y. And now let's multiply. Oh, geez. Let's multiply everything by 12. How about that? Oh, and negative 12. Because if I multiply by negative 12, then that would get rid of this negative right in the front, right? So negative 12. Now, how do you do this? Do you go negative 12 times negative 3 and get positive 36, then divide that by 9, or divide that by 4 and get 9? You could, or you could go 4 into the negative 12. That goes negative 3 times, right? And then negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9. So you could do it that way, 9x, right? So 4 divided into negative 12, negative 3 times, and then multiply negative 3 times negative 3, that gives us a positive 9. That's why I'm multiplying by a negative out here to make that a positive. Okay, but then I got to multiply that negative 12 times 2/3. Put the video on pause and see if you can do that right now. All right, here's the way I'd do it. I'd take the 3, I'd divide it into the negative 12. That gives me negative 4. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. So I get a negative 8y. And then I got to take the negative 12 and I got to multiply it all the way over here to the negative 1/6. And that's going to give me a positive 2. Where'd my black pen go? There it is. So I get positive 2 right there because negative 6 divided into negative 12 goes positive 2 times. So here it is. I just want to double check, make sure that I don't have any common factors. And then I'd list my A, B, and C. So my A is 9, check mark, it's positive and it's whole. B is negative 8, and C is positive 2. Now I know usually we wouldn't write plus minus 8y. You just have a minus 8y right there. But still, I can identify what the B value is. Thanks for watching my video. Good luck on those problems.